Greetings, Goddess Body, Mind, Spirit community. This is your Goddess Guru, Tyra Omilade, here to share a word of inspiration with you on your path to self-realization and self-mastery. Today is April the 5th. This is the new moon. The new moon was this morning at about 4:51 a.m. I guess that's Eastern time. So we're in this thing, y'all. We're in this thing. What I wanted to do is to go over just some wisdom to share with you to help you maximize this moon. I hope that everybody is well. Greetings, greetings, greetings. And I see a few people are on with me this morning. How is Aries season for you all? I am feeling much better because the Pisces energy, I have realized I'm very sensitive to Pisces. I knew that Pisces moon, I knew it would get me most Pisces moons knock me out, but this Pisces season has just got me messed up. And y'all know, I know exactly. I know that we're not out of it, right? We have Venus, which is there, along with Mercury, and of course Neptune will be there for, I think another 6 years or so. So we're not out of Pisces season, actually. We're at the tail end of it. And something I said I wanted to share with you all, for me, the power of astrology is proving itself more and more. Things that I'm discovering about myself. The astrologer who I learned from is Lada of Astro-Rituals. And she said the way she found astrology was she was really just lost in her life. And she went to a bookstore and a book fell off the shelf in front of her. It did it like at least twice, maybe 3 times. And finally she looked at this book and was like, what is this about? And she looked inside the book and it said anybody who is, I don't remember exactly how it is, but basically like if you're having a rough time in life, you don't really know what to do, you should study astrology. And so I find that to be true. Astrology is definitely a path into knowing who and what we are. If all we ever did in astrology is study our chart, we would be so much better off in life. I mean, the world would be so much better. So I realized that a few years ago, I had a transit, Neptune transited my Mercury. And I remember the time, even though I didn't know anything about transits, astrology for the most part, or anything, I remember being so frustrated. My mind was just gone. It was like I would have blanks there. I'll never forget. And this is another thing about Pisces energy. Even though I know we're in Aries, I know this is your time, but please let me just share this because I think somebody out there can benefit from this. I remember there was a time when I was driving down this road in Nashville and literally I did not see that the light had changed from green to red. I did not see it. And the thing about Pisces is you have to depend on divine guidance. You have to trust that you're going to be taken care of. It's a very magical sign, and it's all about the unseen. And so I've always said about myself, God takes care of babies, fools, and Tyra, because it was nothing. As I like to hear the good Christians say, it wasn't nothing but God. You know, it was nothing but the ancestors and my guides, the goddess, the great mother, who took care of me, because there were people waiting to go across. I'm going this way. There were people waiting to go across. And it was as if the angels, the ancestors held them. They were like, y'all, look, she ain't right now. And they stopped those people. Those people saw I was not stopping. And I did not realize the light had not changed or had changed from green to red until I'm barreling through that intersection. I'll never forget it. Never, ever forget it. And there's so many other things that happened during that transit, but I just remember it was as if my mind, I just did not have a mind. I know, sis. And so I've come to realize that Neptune was transiting my Mercury. And, you know, Neptune transits are once in a lifetime. Once they're gone, you ain't going to never see them again, because it takes a long time for Neptune to get around that zodiac sign. So it's a once in a lifetime transit. I hate that. What I will say is that transit helped me to realize, because Pisces is another sign that's very negligent. It helped me to see how negligent I can be of myself. But it terrifies me because I have another Neptune transit coming. Y'all know my son, my birthday was in March, y'all. Did y'all remember that? March 11th. My son will be transited at some point. And so I've used the time of this crazy Pisces season, because Pisces season doesn't usually last this long like this, but because of that Mercury retrograde, it's created this long lasting effect. And then Mercury has been with Neptune. Let's see if it's still with Neptune. Neptune is at about 17 degrees all the month of April, and Mercury is still basically right there with it. It's there today, as a matter of fact. It's right there with Neptune. And I've noticed my mind has blanks. And I'm like doing everything I can to try to prepare myself for this upcoming transit. It'll be in a few years, a couple of years. But that last transit rocked my world, and I do not want to live like that. And so I've just been practicing and testing myself out with this current transit that's been going on, to see what helps me to not get lost, because that's what happens with Pisces energy. We can just get completely and totally lost. What helps me to not get lost? So I just encourage you, as much as you can, learn astrology. I've created an astrology 101 course. I'm sort of scared to sell it because I'm like so new at it, but it's really basic information that anyone who knows a little bit about astrology, and I've been studying it hardcore for 2 years, can use to learn their chart. That's the purpose of what I have created. I want people to be able to look at their own chart. And so if you hear an astrologer talking about, well, if you are Scorpio rising, you know, the moon in Aries, the new moon in Aries, this is what it means for you, so that you actually will know that. Because a lot of times people don't really get it. And then if you know you have planets in that sign, you already know that that's going to be an even bigger deal, right? So I created this course because I just really want people to learn. But I'll let y'all know if I decide to sell it publicly. I posted it in Patreon. But y'all, please, even if you don't learn from me, learn from somebody what these transits mean. Why am I on here today? I used to just feel like I just want to share, and you know, I really feel like I just want to share. That's how I started out. I just want to share. But now I have a greater sense of purpose. Why am I here with you today? It's because I don't want us to be lost. I want us to be on the straight and narrow to our destinies. When I say that I am here to assist you on your path to self-realization and self-mastery, I mean that, okay? And so how do we do this? We become more aware of what's going on. This year, we started out with the new moon in Capricorn. What does that mean? New moon in Capricorn. And it has set the tone in a major way because it was an eclipse, right? And so we're being restructured. We're being restructured. We're being called to address our fears. But this new moon, to me, the reason that this new moon in Capricorn this year with the eclipse is such a big deal is because there's so much energy in Capricorn. Like I put out the video the other day about the South Node being conjunct with Pluto. Where? In Capricorn. And this is leading us to ending the year with an eclipse in Capricorn in December. We're going to begin 2020 with an eclipse in Capricorn. This is our opportunity to restructure our lives. This is our opportunity to take everything the universe gives to us, to begin to create the life that we deserve, the life that we actually came here to live, not the life that the world has said, oh, you're only worthy of this or you're only worthy of that. And so when I'm telling y'all, you need to know your chart. If you don't want to get into astrology, oh my God, find some kind of way. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So Capricorn is all about cycles. It doesn't matter how you keep up with the cycles. Use numerology if you want to. If you're into Orisha and you're using the Orisha, the calendar, use that. But now is the time to keep up with the cycles. And I'm telling you, you need to understand what the cycles are that have affected you. They are coming back in some shape, form, or fashion. Will Neptune ever transit my Mercury again? No. But Neptune is going to transit my Sun. I got to get this thing right, okay? And so I'm just saying you need to know the cycles. You need to know what has happened. You need to know where you are right now. You need to know where you're going. This is what astrology is all about. This is what Capricorn is about, Saturn, Sekert, whatever you want to call it. We need to understand the cycles, because when you know the cycles, you can put yourself in the driver's seat even the more in your life. Aries, I'm sorry I took time away from you, because Aries don't play that. Aries is like right here. So y'all, let's go on to Aries. I just had to share that. I did not plan on it, but not fully like that. Okay, so we're in this new moon of Aries. I want to give y'all a checklist that I've come up with for the new moon. But let me talk about what the Metunetter gave to us to work with, okay? When I think about what the question I asked was, what is the energy surrounding us for this new moon? Okay? And so what we can do with this wisdom is we can integrate it into the spiritual work that we're doing. We can take it into even the whole month. And we can use it to help give us a focus so that we can actually, first and foremost, work with the energy, but also not get tripped up by it, because there's a little trip and it's amazing to me. So Oyster positive is the energy that spoke from the Metunetter. I was like, yes, I love Oyster energy, because Oyster is all about connecting with the Ori. It's all about working with the Ori. And so this is a time for all of us to bless our heads. If you know how to do that, you know, I forgot how one woman described it, but it's making a connection with the higher self. The Ori is the aspect of ourselves, the Oyster, our Oyster self, is the aspect of ourself that is undifferentiated into this body, okay? It is the part of ourselves that sees all, knows that we have projected this world outward that we live in. It seems like we're in the world, but actually it's an outpicturing of, you know, this inner beingness of ourselves. And so it's that part of ourselves that leads, guides, and directs. It can see the past, it can see the present, it can see the future, and it's constantly informing us of what it is that we need to do. The question is, how aware of it are we? So a beautiful thing about working with this energy of Oyster during Aries season, because what is Aries? Mars. What is Mars? Herakahuti Ogun. What is Herakahuti Ogun? Okay, everybody pull out your sword. All right. I know folks like using this sword to fight off the enemies, but sometimes we need to use that sword to fight and slay the enemies within. I want to make a video about people writing this story of victimization in their life. Everybody's victimizing me. Maybe it's not everybody's victimizing you. Maybe you need to pull out your sword and cut out that inner victim and step into your power, wonder, and glory and take charge of your life. Stop blaming everybody for what's wrong in your life, okay? So we want to take whatever is preventing us from connecting with our Ori. Cut it. The other thing that we may want to think about doing is Ori may be informing us of some stuff that we need to cut off. I talked to the ladies in, it's not just for ladies, but that's so far the only people who've joined my inner circle. I was talking to them in a video, and I was one of the readings, the weekly readings, and I told them that a priest said to me a long time ago in a reading, the least of your real self is greater than 100% of your superstar made up self. I'm going to give him credit. Bobby Ishangi. Bobby Ishangi. I can't even remember his first name, but I do know his last name is Ishangi. Out of New York, if I'm correct. Do I need to repeat that? The least of your real self is greater than 100% of your superstar made up self. Can I ask you again, please pull out your sword and cut off your superstar made up self. Okay? It's not working for you. It's not working for me. That man stepped on my toes so hard because I know I have really had to come out of my superstar made up self. And honestly, I'm so much happier the more I cut off my superstar made up self. So we can use this time of Aries to say I'm cutting off my superstar made up self so I can really operate from my real self, which is my Ori. I can operate from my real self, which is, you know, the truth of who and what we are. All right? Not all the superstar made up self. This is one of the reasons my hair is cut, because I'm telling you, I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I'm like, oh my gosh. Superstar made up self cut off, baby. We revealing it all. We about to step up into this thing. We're going to be real. I told myself, I'll give you an example. You know what? You can't do no more hairography where you slinging your hair and folks are like, ooh, y'all should see some of the pictures people have gotten of my hairography, those dreadlocks, fire, right? Now, Spirit said to me, I'm going to need you to just dance, honey. I'm going to need you to bring the real dance, stop slinging your hair, and bring the dance with your body, all right? We're not cut off your superstar made up self. Let's dance with this body, all right? So that's just a little example, but a real one. I'm being 100 with you all. So that's something else to think about, Orsair. Another thing to think about Orsair is Orsair actually represents abundance. It really is a sign of abundance. And so this is something that I encourage you to do. Y'all, we're in the spring of the year. Plant your seeds of abundance where you are not abundant, because it may be money, it may be relationships, it may just be the need to have, you know, a higher consciousness of your true self-worth. Whatever it is. You want to begin to do things that lead you to have a greater experience of this abundance. So y'all really and truly sow the seeds of abundance. But the thing with Orsair is all things come from the great divine. Orsair is like me and the great divine are one. There's no differentiation between, you know, we think of Amen and Olodumare. The way we think about these energies is a little bit different. I was raised in the Christian tradition. This is very different from the way Christians look at it. Because it's like God is my provider and God is our provider. But it's not so much like this God is just watching me. It's more of like a concept of, well, I guess when I think about it more from the metaphysics level, there is the great divine consciousness. It does not feel emotion. It created emotion. It created all of this, right? But in and of itself, and we think about Amen, the way Ra'u Nefer Amen teaches, it is beingness. It's just pure potentiality. There is no emotion. There's nothing. It's just peace. It's just beingness and energy, right? It's no emotion whatsoever. So, that's what we're seeking to be the most aware of. And from that, through divine law, we're able to manifest abundance. It's not so much about creating, like doing work, which we will have to, because this is Aries, baby. We got to get busy. We got to get moving. Taurus is next. It's time to move. It's time to do stuff. It is about working within this space-time continuum. But y'all, ultimately, and this is what our Sarah wants us to know, ultimately it is, we create from the inside out. That's why it's about working on our inner consciousness of abundance with Orser. The last thing I'll tell you about Orser is it's all about unity. So it's all about the oneness. And sometimes unity looks like this. You may have the positive and I have the negative, the polarities, right? But we need the polarities to actually make things work. Everything can't be positively charged. It just, in this space-time continuum, it's just not how it works. And so we have to use the energy of Oshun and this energy of harmony, realizing that things are complements. And so this is what you want to be looking at. Don't look so much at what we don't agree on. Let's look at how we can be complementary energies. It's something that gives me peace, and it helps me not argue with people, which is very important, because the second energy that spoke is Herakahuti. And Herakahuti, you have to say, you know what? I'm not going to have unnecessary arguments. I refuse to have unnecessary arguments. If I'm going to argue about something, it will be for something that is purposeful, because Herakahuti, Aries energy, Mars energy, it has a lot to do with activist energy. It's activist. It's fighting for something. It's the warrior energy. And so we have to be careful, because it's Herakahuti negative. It spoke in the negative. And so we have to be careful that we're not arguing and fighting over nothing. And so sometimes I'll tell myself, you know what? I just need to accept, or let me just find where the common ground is, because everything else is a waste of time. My godfather says, I'm not going to sit up here and argue with people, because they've made up their mind where they stay. I've made up my mind where I stand. There's no need to argue about it. Let's just find out where is the common ground and operate from that. See, Orser is wise energy. So y'all, we should be operating really at all times from wisdom. But Herakahuti, speaking in the negative, is saying that maybe we're being too argumentative. Maybe we're being rash and hasty, because we are in this sort of like go, 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 go phase now. The energy is moving. Mars is in Gemini, which means its energy can be more active and move faster than when it was in Taurus. So we just really want to make sure that we are moving forward with wisdom and not being rash, not being hasty, and we're not being fake and phony. Mars, Aries energy cannot stand fakeness. I mean, it will just be who and what it is, period. Raw and unadulterated. But Herakahuti says that you need to cut yourself off from, these lower aspects of your ego. And so perhaps we're not doing that. Perhaps we're just full on operating from our ego. So we really want to be looking, how is all of this showing up for us? So definitely take time to be spiritual. When our Sarah speaks, it's time to take a little time we need to carve out time to be alone, to meditate, and to be mindful. What do we need to be mindful of? We need to be mindful of our Ori. We need to be led, guided, and directed by our Oris. And so the other thing is Who's paying attention to Aries season? Has anyone tapped into the energy of Aries? This is the second Herakuti negative that I've seen. I saw it in, I think, this week's reading for the inner circle. And I'm like, y'all, we cannot let this time pass us by. This is another reason I made the video the other day. That's why I talked about cycles. So are we wasting our time? Are we wasting this time of Aries season where we should be sowing seed? Like, have you looked at your new moon intentions, your equinox intentions? Have you looked at the New Year's intentions? Like, what are you doing? Are you wasting your time? Are you letting this time just slip and waste by? Y'all know we only get Aries, Sun in Aries once a year. So this is such an important time for us. And Herakuti negative is telling me we're wasting it. We're not taking full advantage of this. And so we're charged up, we're energized. We need to be on it. We need to be on it, okay? So I also want to share something that I plan on trying to develop over time, a new moon checklist, because Saturn is really working on me having lists so that I don't forget what I need to do and I can work within the cycles and get everything done, okay? So the new moon checklist. First and foremost, you need to write out your new moon intentions for Aries, okay? So when we're thinking about the energy of Aries, we're wanting to make sure that we're thinking about things that we want to get started, things that we really want to channel energy into. So maybe it's something you've already started, but you really need to channel some energy into it, okay? And you need to really just push. You got to put those muscles in there, right? So starting up new things or where you're going to be hyper focused. Think about that arrow, you know, on Mars. What are you going to be hyper focused on? Aries is also a sign where we can think about our health, especially exercise, because this is an energy that's about exercise. It's a creative energy, y'all. It's also a very creative energy. So things that you can be thinking about for your intentions can have to do with creativity and exercise and what do you need to focus on and what do you need to channel your energy into. Maybe you need to think about something that you need to fight for. Aries energy is fearless energy also. This is why a lot of times people with a lot of Aries energy, they do things before they really think about it, you know? And they can control this through making sure they've made an agreement with themselves. If I haven't checked in with some wisdom source, I will not do it. They can train themselves that way. So this is something that we definitely need to be doing. We need to be thinking about the things that I'm most fearful of. What do I need to first address? I'm not asking you to address every fear. This energy of Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn especially, Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto right there with the South Node. We need to be looking at our fears. What do we fear? And we want to write an intention about something that we fear that we're going to address this fear. Like next year, this time, we're not going to be afraid anymore. It may not be in 30 days, okay? It may take a little time. But what are we afraid of? And we need to channel this energy of Aries and Mars and just allow it to infuse us during this time. Just even if you're with me right now or watching the replay, just take that moment to just open your consciousness up and allow the energy of Aries, Mars to really connect in your consciousness, okay? And infuse you, make an agreement with this energy to infuse you for the next year regarding whatever you've written down. So you can write down intentions for the next 30 days. These are the short term. But I encourage you to write down intentions for the year regarding this Aries. And so it could just be one. Just Aries, give me more energy to exercise. Or Aries, Mars, give me more energy to have that passion and that focus that I need on whatever said project is. Or you might be the project. It may be something that you're actually working to manifest materially. It may be some spiritual goal that you have. It may be some mental, thing that you're trying to do, emotional, whatever it is. Even if you just do one thing and you say, I will fearlessly move forward in this thing over the next year. This is your time. This is your time to connect with the energy of Aries. Y'all, please remember, we have the entire zodiac within us, okay? So, number one, write out your new moon intentions. For this moon, it will be Aries. Short term would be for the next 30 days or the next lunar cycle. And long term is going to be, how are you going to work with the energy of Aries all year? We don't need to just put it down just because the season has moved on. Are you kidding me? No way. The moon comes into Aries every season. So something else that you can do to connect with the energy of Aries all year long, no matter what the day is put on red, or put on clothing that, like, put on leather. Anything that is a little bit like, it's like warrior type clothes, okay? It's sort of like a little grit to it, So that's that. Okay, number two, next thing on the new moon checklist, you want to connect with the energy on the sign of the moon. And so I've talked about that astrologically, how you can do that already. The Orisha is Ogun or Herakahuti, okay? So Ogun, you can go to the railroad tracks and leave Ogun an offering. Anything hot. That's something else to connect with the energy of Aries or Ogun, Herakahuti. Eat hot food if you want to build your inner fire. The other thing I encourage you to do is to avoid sweets, because sugar puts out our inner fire. Sugar raises the water. So we're wanting to raise the fire. And so eating spicy food, but you can do it in a way that is intentional. It's more about the intent. And y'all have heard me, I think y'all have heard me talk about pop-up rituals. You can do a pop-up ritual. This is why you equip yourself with what is, tell me, let me know what is this energy about. So when you need to connect with it, you can. Doesn't matter which one, put on red, put on some leather, work your muscles. These all will connect you with the energy of this warrior energy, Ogun, Herakahuti, Aries. Eat hot food, but you can take maybe some peppers and leave them at the railroad track, and because that's his. Or if you find yourself crossing railroad tracks, you can say a quick prayer to Ogun as you cross over those railroad tracks. And I typically am like, much respect. And the beauty of this is something else to think about in terms of how we work with this energy, is we can call on Ogun to help us get through obstacles. This is one of the things I love about the energy of Ogun, Herakahuti. Oh, what? Girl, you are so you're in line with it. You're just, hold on, let me pull that back up. Wow, just signed on, and you live across from a railroad track. Oh, you got the protection of Ogun Herakahuti right there. Oh my gosh. Thank you for bringing that energy into this webinar. That is so exciting. And you tuned in right at the right moment. So yes, we can definitely connect with this energy of Ogun to help us remove obstacles. So maybe you're crossing over the railroad track and you know there's some obstacle that you face towards your goal, towards self-realization and self-mastery, towards you facing your fear. As you cross that railroad track, you can say to Ogun, Harakuti, please help me. Help me, help remove this obstacle. I do believe sometimes we have to face enemies, you know, but make no mistake about it. Ori, our Orser selves, brings those enemies to us because we invite them. All right. Just like I talked about victims earlier, writing their own little victim story. All this enemy stuff. We're writing every piece of this. We're writing every piece of this. Okay. So, but I'm telling y'all, some of us, all you out there with Scorpio energy, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Man, people sometimes, it's like you love or you hate a Scorpio. But if you don't really know you're a Scorpio, some days, like I used to sit around like, why do I get so many haters? I'm trying to figure out, why is everybody hating on me, right? And so I've learned. So, you understand? You understand? Scorpio rising here too. So I started saying to myself, okay. Well, no, I didn't say this to myself. I learned this from Baba Obafemi out of Texas with the OIDSI Institute. He said, you call on Ogun. You just keep repeating his name, Ogun, Ogun, Ogun. Or you can say Ogunda, 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 which is Ogun's Odu. If this person even thinks of me on their day off, remove them as far from me as the east is from the west. Don't even let them think about me. Remove my name from their mind. And I'm telling you, I've gotten rid of people. It's like, I don't want anyone to get hurt. I'm not asking for anybody to get hurt. But if folks are coming up into my territory, bringing me grief, and I've told you, back up, and you don't back up, just trust me, I'm calling on Ogun, Ogunda, okay? But typically, I really am my own obstacle. So typically, I'm asking Ogunda to move me to where I'm not my own obstacle. So y'all, we really need to be thinking about how can we call on all of these energies to help us during this time. Okay. Orisha. Okay, so let me talk about the element. So we all know Aries is about fire. Herakahuti, Ogun, all about fire. So something I began to realize here lately is I've been doing a lot of candle rituals. Now, I do pop-up candle rituals. Y'all do not have anything I can really tell y'all other than what I do. But, you know, if some of y'all are out there into doing a lot of candle work, chime in, be it on the live stream or in the replay. But what I do essentially is I have, you know, I've initiated and I have my Ogun pot. I have my Eshu. And I have my Osun also. And I also have an altar with Saraswati and Kuan Yin on them. So what I do is I light a candle every day at each altar with the first two, the Ogun and the Eshu, for my children. Especially once my older son, this all started once my older son went off to college. He's at the United States Coast Guard Academy, so a military university, and he's ruled by, he's an Aries rising. He's ruled by, you know, Mars, Ogun. So initially I started it for him, and I would just light the candle and say, this is for this child, because the way this energy works with me is like, I don't need you to tell me anything. All right, just do the work, light the freaking candle. And then Eshu Alegua, he's a student, but he's also Mercury ruled too. And so I light the candle for him that way. And then just for all the kids in my family, because they're students in some regard, be it college on down. Well, most of them. I light a candle at Saraswati. and Kuan Yin. Saraswati has a lot to do with learning, if you know about her. And so I was like, oh. And so now, and I will light up all my altars. I try to do it once a week. Y'all know I'm at that age where I get hot flashes. So it sort of depends on if I can take the heat or not. I would light my ancestral altar. I will light up my altars to bring the energy to life, to connect with the energy of the altar. See, I love altars because they remind me of what's inside of me. That's what the altar really represents. It's a portal to represent that energy in you, okay? And that connection to these energies in the greater realm also. So that's a candle ritual that I do. Now, I saw some people start chiming in. Let me see here. I love that. Okay. Oh, thank you, Gypsy Goddess. Ashe. I appreciate you for chiming in for a little while. Okay, so you can use fire. You can definitely use fire rituals. If you're like my husband, he'll just go start a fire, in the fire pit and sit with the fire. Or, some people may be on a big piece of land and you can start a bonfire. Or maybe you don't start the bonfire, but you hear there is a bonfire. But these are ways that we can commit to working with this energy now, as well as all year long. When we need to really raise that inner fire, work with fire. Light a fire, but don't set anything on fire that should not be set on fire. That was a joke, y'all. I know you won't. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let me just keep going. Then there is the Odu that you can think about. This one was so easy because in Ifa, there is an Odu called Ogunda. And so you can study the wisdom of Ogunda. Now, if you want to, I'm telling y'all, Baba Obafemi has taught these Odu on his new YouTube channel. The majority of them are for free. And then there are some, if you feel like you want to go deeper, you can just buy them $5 a video. I need to go buy those videos. I haven't bought them yet, but the Ogunda Meji, Ogunda, Ogunda Meji video. Watch it. You'll learn so much about Ogunda. The one that I do want to bring up to you about Ogunda that shocked me when I learned about it is Ogunda says, mind your business. Mind your own business, all right? Take care of home first. Mind your business. So in Aries, this Aries new moon, we can ask ourselves, what business do I need to mind of my own? And stop being all caught up with other folks' stuff. Most of us are caught up in other people's business because we're trying to help them. But we need to let them help themselves. And we need to help ourselves. This is another thing about Aries. It's about being selfish. Aries people can be so me-centered. That's their destiny. Never knock an Aries for being that way. You can call them on it because sometimes they need to realize the world doesn't revolve around you, boo. Okay. And Aries, I love to. They're so easy to forgive. Typically, y'all, you got to look at everybody's chart because I know some of us will say, "Oh, I know an Aries," and they don't forgive easily. Well, they might have some Capricorn or some Pisces in there because Pisces we forgive, but we'll hold a little bit of a grudge to it. Or is that Scorpio? I don't know which side of myself is like that. But anywho, Aries is quick to forgive. And so this is a time for you to really think about how can you focus more on you? How do you need to be selfish? How do you need to tell people, no, I'm not going to help you because I'm too busy helping me over here. And the more I help me do what I'm supposed to do, you're going to be better. The world's going to be better. Okay? So this is something I would encourage you to write down. Ogunda says, mind your business. Home first. What is home? You. your family, the people that you're responsible for. If you're at work, it's your job. It's the responsibilities you have for your job. Okay? You need to take care of that first. We're so much better when we're doing that. So mind your business. That's one of the things Ogunda says that I wanted to bring up. Things that we can think about with our health. Like I said, you want to work out, and you definitely want to come up with a plan for working your muscles, because that's what Ogun is about. And to a certain degree, or Aries is about, whenever you need to connect with this energy, that's something else that you can do. You can go do a workout, especially working the muscles. Lift some weights, do some push-ups, planks, squats, anything that does not involve cardio. The stuff that folks love cardio, they don't always like working the muscles. So but definitely working the muscles. And the other thing about this energy that I learned through Herakahuti is it's best to not take naps, because taking naps put out your fire. Now, if you're just totally sleep deprived, you might need to take a power nap. I get that. But whenever you really want to connect with this energy, get enough sleep at night, and then stay awake. Keep yourself moving during the day. I think that's all I wanted to share with you all on that. Number 3 on the new moon checklist, revisit your New Year's intentions. I've mentioned this already, but I said that I was making a commitment to remind us to stop and read our New Year's intentions. I'm pointing in this direction because that's where mine are on the wall. Every new moon, stop and read your new moon's intentions. Y'all, we have to connect New Year's intentions, New Year's intentions. We have to have a relationship with these New Year's intentions. And so, y'all, Jupiter's in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all about, well, one of the things it's about is goals, okay? So it's about the future and what we're shooting for. This is like the perfect time to become so perfect at setting goals. So one of the things that we have to do is to set the goals and revisit the goals to see how are we doing. And I don't know if I have them still here with me, but I wrote down because let me go to the next one. Put your new moon intentions. So like what we said at Pisces, should have been somewhere, we review them. Aries, put them somewhere to review them. And so I just kept reviewing them. And so maybe you review them every Sunday or every Wednesday or something like that. Set a date for the next 4 weeks for when you will revisit your new moon intentions. And so I looked at mine, I think yesterday, and realized I had achieved one that I put on there that I really I didn't think I was thinking too much about. But this past weekend, I went to visit my dad in Mississippi, and he lives way out in the country. And I told my younger son as we were leaving, I was like, I really hate that my dad lives this far down into the country because I have to drive way further than I did from the house where I lived in as a kid. I said, but every time I come to visit my dad, I leave feeling renewed and rejuvenated. He for real lives in the country. And I came home and I told my husband, hey, we need to set a date for a camp out, because I told myself on my New Year's intentions, I will camp out with my husband twice a year. I'm trying to get myself into being outdoors more, like for real, not just taking a quick walk or anything. I mean, like living out there for a while. And I said to my husband when I came home, hey, we need to set this up. And I had forgotten that I wrote that down as one of my goals for the Pisces new moon. So I was so proud that we set a date for our camp out. If y'all are in the Nashville area, I will let you know. And just in case you and your family want to come, because it's going to be one where, you know, friends can come with us. We're getting a big place. If you need equipment, we'll have equipment for you. So, yes, that's the last thing on the checklist that I came up with. I'm going to keep working on this checklist to see, is there anything that I left off? But I hope that this has been helpful for you all. Please, please, please get those those Aries new moon intentions down. Enjoy this energy. Enjoy all of the wisdom and the power and might of Aries. I used to sort of not like Aries. I love Aries energy. Now that I know so much more about it, I love all the 12 signs. I do. I love all 12 signs. So y'all take advantage of this time. This is Tyra Omilade. Thank you so much for joining me here on this auspicious time as the new moon in Aries. Please like the video. Please share the video. Also, remember, you can go to my website, goddessbodymindspirit.com, and go to the spiritual readings page and request a reading from me. I would love to divine for you. And if you would like to join my inner circle where I share mentorship, I share readings, I share wisdom to help you to be your guide on your path to self-realization and self-mastery, go to Patreon, patreon.com/goddess body mind spirit, and you can join me there in the inner circle. Y'all, I put it there at a good price for y'all. All right, I even create courses based on what y'all want to know about for those who are in the spiritual coaching cipher. I love y'all. I'm wishing y'all a great new moon. Y'all take care.